everyone to today's session, which is on great nutrition. Along with oxygen and water, food is the other essential element needed to sustain life. Now, we can only last several minutes without oxygen, several days without water, and several weeks without food. Now, while we've all probably experienced the painful hunger that makes it impossible to forget our need to eat, hunger doesn't help us to choose quality foods. In fact, it usually provokes us to choose unhealthy foods. Now, poor nutrition is very common in modern society and is another major reason why poor health and disease is so common. The sugar, chemical toxins and artificial additives found in many of today's foods certainly don't help either. As with oxygen and water, every one of the trillions of cells in our body are influenced by the food we eat. Without the proper nutrients from the whole natural foods such as meat, fish, fruit and vegetables, unrefined carbohydrates, they won't develop or function properly. And this is the beginning of what eventually becomes poor health and disease. Although we all need quality nutrition, we each have a unique need for different types and proportions of food, and this is an extremely important aspect of a healthy diet. I want to talk now about basal metabolic rate, which is known as BMR. And this is closely related to your resting metabolic rate. So what does that mean? It's the amount of energy expended daily by humans at rest for normal body function. So that's not doing any exercise, that's just what it takes to actually operate your body. So the release and using of energy in this state is sufficient only for the functioning of the vital organs, so like the heart, the lungs, your nervous system, kidneys, liver, your intestines, your sex organs, muscles and your skin. It does not take into account any exercise you may do or how active your lifestyle is or isn't. So your BMR contributes to 50 to 80% of your energy used in a day. Now, both basal metabolic rate and resting metabolic rate are usually expressed in terms of daily rates of energy expenditure. So the primary organ responsible for regulating your metabolism is your hypothalamus. The chief functions of the hypothalamus are to control and integrate the activities of your autonomic nervous system. So the ANS regulates the contraction of your smooth muscle and your cardiac muscle, so that's your heart, along with secretions of many endocrine organs, such as the thyroid gland. Now, the thyroid is actually associated with lots of metabolic disorders. So it's pretty important. Through the ANS, the hypothalamus is the main regulator of visceral activities such as your heart rate and the movement of food through the gastrointestinal tract and the contraction of the urinary bladder. So production and regulation of feelings of rage and aggression, regulation of your body temperature, as well as regulation of food intake through two centres. So the feeding centre or the hunger centre is responsible for the sensations that cause us to actually seek food. When sufficient food have been received and a chemical in the body naturally occurring called leptin is high, then the satiety centre is stimulated in the brain and sends an impulse that inhibits the feeding centre. So essentially it says to stop eating. Simply put, long term, leptin signals that the body has adequate adipose tissue, energy stores, and short-term, leptin signals that the body has had enough to eat. So when insufficient food is present in the stomach and a chemical called ghrelin levels are high, receptors in the hypothalamus initiate the sense of hunger. So we start eating. So put simply, your stomach makes ghrelin when it's empty, just like leptin. Ghrelin goes into the blood, crosses the blood-brain barrier and ends up at your hypothalamus where it tells you that you're hungry. So what you can take from that, it's all actually happening up in the brain, and that's where the hypothalamus is. So both are supposed to result in the reduction of appetite. All these functions taken together form a survival mechanism that causes us to sustain body processes that our base metabolic rate and resting metabolic rate measure. Now let's talk a little bit about metabolism. So what is it? Metabolism refers to all the chemical processes going on continuously inside the body that allow life and normal functioning. So that means maintaining normal functioning in the body, and that's called homeostasis. So homeostasis is pretty much just balance. These processes include those that break down nutrients from our food and those that build and repair our body. Now, building and repairing the body require energy that ultimately comes from your food. So the amount of energy is measured in what's called kilojoules. If we eat and drink more kilojoules than we need for our metabolism and exercise needs, we will simply gain weight. So let's talk about BMR and metabolism in a summary. And this is according to the Deakin University. So metabolism refers to all of the chemical processes that go on continuously inside the body. Your metabolism is influenced by your age, gender, muscle to fat ratio, the food you eat, and physical activity. Your hormones and nervous system control your body's metabolism. Hormonal metabolic disorders include hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. Now remember, you heard me say earlier that your thyroid was really important. So if it's not operating well, you can either gain weight or lose weight really easily. So let's explain the lingo. So what is a kilojoule? We eat food to fuel our bodies for energy, growth and repair. Carbohydrates, proteins and fats are broken down by the digestive system into their simplest components. So simple sugars, amino acids and fatty acids. Now food energy is measured in kilojoules. The common term for this is called the calorie, but a kilojoule is now the term accepted internationally. This unit of measurement allows us to talk about how much energy a food contains and how much energy is burned up during exercise. A kilojoule is a unit of measure of energy in the same way that kilometres measure distance. The food and beverages we consume provides this energy. So just how much energy depends on the amount of carbohydrate, protein and fat the food contains. Remember, good fat is essential for weight loss, so don't eliminate them. So an example is coconut oil, nuts and seeds, grain-fed organic meats and avocado. It's really important to remember alcohol consumption. There's 29 kilojoules, that's 7 calories, empty calories per glass, and they increase your blood sugar levels. Water, really important for you to know that water has no calories. It's essential to maintain hydration and body function as we can't actually produce it. So things to remember, metabolism refers to the countless chemical processes going on continuously inside the body that allow life and normal functioning. The amount of kilojoules your body burns at any given time is affected by your metabolism. Your metabolic rate is influenced by many factors, including age, gender, muscle to fat ratio, amount of physical activity, and hormone function. So your BMR is as unique as you are. So I'd like to introduce you to a tracking app called My Diet Diary. It's a free one and it's a good example where you can set your personal details, so i.e. your gender, your height, current weight, activity levels and goals. So whether that's weight loss, gain or even to maintain. It will also calculate your activity levels to ensure that you are on track with your food and beverage consumption as well as your water. So remember, your weight times 0.033 will give you your ideal water needs each day. You will also be able to see where your energy is coming from. So remember, a balance of quality protein like meat, fish, chicken, etc., unrefined carbohydrates, vegetables, fruits, some grain. Now gluten intolerances, please source alternatives. Quality fats like coconut oil, avocados. I have also included a link to a really helpful book called Rocket Fuel on a Budget by Joanna Rushton, which can be purchased online, and this includes great recipes on a budget as well as a 21-day menu plan. Or you might have some great recipes already. So get cracking and download that app, set your targets, and remember, steady, realistic goals. Refer to the Smart Goals video and yummy recipe ideas in Jo's book or in your own recipe books. and you are well on your way to being fit and well. And I will see you soon.